Hey everybody, it's time for another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, rolling solo with you today as I dive more into North Carolina football. Before I do, a quick reminder that this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. We'll have some more info on that a little bit later here in the show. It's definitely something you guys want to pay attention to. And if you're into that stuff, definitely take advantage of. All right, the topic here is stacking performances. The Tar Heels need to stack performances. What happened Saturday night was phenomenal. It was a terrific performance on so many levels. Plenty of things still to clean up. Gene Chizik in his press conference Monday called them warts a couple of times. Chip Lindsey said that there were definitely things to clean up. Mack Brown said plenty to clean up. But that was a very thorough performance for a program standard that hasn't put together a lot of thorough performances on both sides of the ball, and for the most part in special teams outside of that onside kick situation. And the defense bowed up right afterward and got the ball back and actually giving the offensive ball a pretty good field position. So the nation's watching now. I listened to a lot of different national stuff, curious what the nation was saying today. A lot of respect for the Tar Heels. Most people were talking FSU because that was the bigger game Sunday night, but North Carolina got a lot out of its performance Saturday. The defense, people talking about Kamen Rucker, National Defensive Player of the Week. People talking about how quick and how physical the defense was and how deep the defense was, how fast they were, quick and fast. A lot of talk about Gene Chizik and his resume all of a sudden. And they were talking more about that than they were about Drake May, which I think is a very positive thing for this football program. And certainly the 2023 team. The more they talk about other guys, in addition to Drake, the better this team is going to be. So the nation has raised the bar. I actually heard one respected national pundit today say, oh, North Carolina's got a fantastic defense now. Thing about it is, it's just one game. As quickly as they were able to set a bit of a new narrative, and I don't think it's entirely etched in stone, it can very quickly go away. And that's the importance of stacking performances. So much so that Mack Brown even said that after the game in his post-game press conference Saturday night. He spoke about the importance of, quote, stacking, end quote, this performance. So in order to do that, that means the Tar Heels must have another big-time defensive effort this weekend when App State comes in. But before I get into that, and a little bit more about stacking performances and how they can do that and what would qualify as doing that against a different opponent this weekend than the one they just played, I'll get into all that in just a moment. But right now, let's go ahead and hear a word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
I'm very excited to announce our new partnership with Underdog Fantasy. We decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports and is also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Now, Underdog Fantasy has a lot to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, definitely need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with promo code HEAL and get your first deposit doubled by up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with promo code HEAL, HEEL, to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. You must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
So the first thing that must be done in order to stack the performance is to get rid of the game. The team had their practice on Sunday, then they had their victory dinner Sunday night, and by the time those guys wiped their mouths the last time after eating that meal, the win over South Carolina needed to go. It needed to go in the rearview mirror, put it way behind, even put it past the rearview mirror so they can't even see it. It needs to be gone, over with. Start to move on to App State. That is an important, understated thing that must be done by this team, because a lot of clubs have trouble with it, especially clubs that haven't tasted that kind of success a whole lot. It's sort of like new money. The guy doesn't have money. He wins the lottery. Next thing you know, he's blowing money on stuff he doesn't need. And those are the guys that often run out of money in a few years. The Tar Heels can't do that. They can't blow the currency that they gained by their performance against the Gamecocks. So a big part of that is putting that performance to bed and focusing on a team that scored 61 points against them last year. Now, one outstanding performance is just that. And I think that's the message being sent in the program. We talked to Mac Brown and Gene Chizik on Monday. We'll get the players on Tuesday after practice and early interviews. Usually we get the players on Tuesdays because they have classes in the morning after. They actually take they have classes in the morning, and then we get them in the evening for interviews. But there are no classes on Tuesday in Chapel Hill, so we're going to get them Tuesday afternoon. You can catch all those interviews right here on our YouTube channel, Tar Heel Illustrated, or over on our site, tarheelillustrated.com. But that's the thing. They need to understand one really good performance doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you are now that team. They had 9 sacks and 16 TFLs. Well, before Saturday, they were gauged as being a team that a year ago had just 17 sacks, and they were 129th in the nation in TFLs, by the way, 127th in sacks. So they need to understand this is a process. It goes back to stacking performances. That is a process. That's how you build a season to become something special, and the potential of North Carolina having a special season is there. And the last thing is, they need to zero in on a club this week that has the ability to move the ball on them. They've shown that the last 2 times they played. App State won in Keenan 4 years ago, and last year scored 40 points in the fourth quarter, 18 first downs, more than 300 yards of offense. And the narrative that flipped was the narrative born 53 weeks ago when the Tar Heels went to Boone. That has hung over this program ever since then. Then you tack on the 4 losses to close the season, and there were a lot of things they had to shed Saturday night. And I think they did at least shed that losing streak because they got a win, and it was an impressive win. But in my opinion, if they want to show that they are a different defense, they have to stack the performance. And that's what this drop is all about. It's about stacking performances. You want to be relevant? Stack performances. You want to change your narrative completely? Stack performances. That is a message that is being sent throughout the Keenan Football Center all week. I can assure you of that. The kids are going to hear stacking performances. They're going to hear that all week. They're going to hear some other things too. We'll get into those and a couple of other drops this week, but stacking performances is key. Remember, everyone, sign up today with a promo code HEEL, HEEL, and you get your first deposit doubled up to $100 with Underdog Fantasy. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring us. If you like this video, go ahead and click like. If you think the Tar Heels are going to stack Saturday's performance this weekend when App State comes to town, go ahead and click like. Share the video with your Carolina friends that do not know we are here, and let them know we are, because we are prolific in uploading videos. And if you're not a subscriber to THI, guys, it's just $8.33 a month. That's a drive-through number. A lot of drive-through numbers are more than that now. And you get access to everything we do, including being a part of a terrific community on our message boards. I'm AJ. We'll talk to you tomorrow.